Yes, just before we begin, on behalf of the Scottish rugby team, we'd just like to pass on our thoughts to the people of Japan for the devastation that was caused last night by the typhoon, and obviously our thoughts go out to those that have lost anyone close to them.
Thank you, Gregor. First question, please.
Hi, Gregor. Can I just get your initial reaction to what went on out there?
Well, disappointment. We obviously look at the game from how we play. I know there's other things going on in that game, but over the piece, we're disappointed. We weren't able to win by more than 8 points. We started really well, both in defence and attack. Then we didn't see much of the ball for the rest of the first half, partly due to errors that we made, but also due to what Japan were doing when they had the ball. The two tries from our perspective we felt were soft, both from our possession, one from a 22 restart, another when we had the ball ripped out. Either side of the half-time made it very difficult for the result we were looking for, but the players really put huge effort into that next 10, 15 minutes. And with 58 minutes gone, we were only 7 points behind. But we didn't do enough in that last 20 minutes to get the win.
Gregor, only the second time Scotland have failed to reach the pool stages. Is that a major blow for you?
Yes, of course. We came here with high aspirations, and getting out of the pool stage was stage one of that. And we've worked really hard over the last 4 months and throughout this tournament to go further than we did tonight. So it's obviously very disappointing not to make it out of the pool.
ラグビーライター吉田ですけども、レイドロさんに何度も日本とやってこれまではずっとやっつけてきたんですけど、やった印象として何が一番今日違ったんでしょうか。
Well, we knew Japan have really improved as a team since 4 years ago, since 2016 as well, since we came here on tour. So, first and foremost, we have to give Japan credit for the way they've progressed and the way they performed this evening. But as always in defeat, we need to look at ourselves first. And as Gregor mentioned, we gave away certainly 2 really soft tries that we would think soft from our team in a test match. Certainly one that you need to win by 8 points. Giving away 28 is way too many.
Next question. At the back.
Hi, question for Greig. We saw from the very first kick-off that they tried to catch you off guard and they won possession straight away from the opening kick-off. Did they do a lot of things throughout the game that caught you a bit off guard tonight, or was it just, as you've already alluded to, a couple of errors too many?
Yeah, certainly never caught us off guard as such. We knew to have a few trick plays and what have you, and I think, as Gregor mentioned, we actually started the game pretty well. Even after losing the first kick-off, we took the lead and got away to a 7-0 lead, and I was probably, we never switched off, but we gave away the soft points that we're talking about and let Japan into the game.
Down the front.
Hi, Gregor. I know emotions are still pretty raw. It's just a few minutes after the game. As you mentioned there, we reached quarterfinals 4 years ago, failed to get out the pool stages this time. Do you feel as if you've gone as far as you can with this team, or do you feel there is much more that you can give?
Yeah, there's a lot more in this team. The experiences are what make you as a group, and how you react to those experiences. That was a unique situation we were in tonight. We knew it was always going to be a challenge, given the way that Japan were playing, given our turnaround. But we had the team, and we had the ability and the start of that game to go on and win it by the necessary amount of points. That we didn't is hugely disappointing, and we'll have to learn from that. And you don't get another shot in the World Cup for 4 years, but we've got to improve as we hit our next tournament, which will be Six Nations in a few months' time.
Gregor, can you talk to us about the build-up for the game and how you dealt with all of the uncertainty about whether the game would go ahead or not?
Oh, the players act very professionally. We'd always believed the game would go ahead, and we obviously acted and behaved that way with our preparations. Yesterday was compromised, but it was a compromised week anyway with the quick turnaround. So we knew this week was going to be a challenge, but I look at how we started the game, and that's a good indication of where the players are in terms of their energy, what they're doing to put pressure on opposition, and we started really well. After that, our errors, and there weren't that many errors in the first half, but a couple of errors that gave Japan the ball. Japan made the most of that, and they're on great form just now. So a sign of a quality team is seizing opportunities, and they did that. Regarding the physical effort and the physical levels of our players, the fitness levels, they showed in the second half that they come back. We had to use the bench as well, given the week that we had, and given the fact we have to change the game. I thought they did really well, and I'm proud of the effort. But we need to be more accurate in that final 20 minutes. We've shown already this year we can come back from big score lines, and it's not a great position to be in, but we had an opportunity again to win tonight, and we didn't take it.
Alistair, and then one in the front.
Greg, the scenes at the finish looked quite emotional, I suppose. What were you saying to the players, and if you any thoughts about what you do next, whether you stay on or whether you decide that this is it for you?
Well, firstly, we were disappointed as a group because we had aspirations to come here, but you know, it's so difficult straight after the game, and certainly it's not about me at this moment in time. It's about the team, and I'll go away and take time and have a think and speak to the people I need to speak to, and then see what happens after that. But tonight it's about staying together as a group and for the group to learn why we're in this situation.
NHK の国武です。グレイグにお伺いします。日本のスクラムの印象をまず教えてください。それから、4年前にも対戦されたと思うんですが、今回日本が開催国のアドバンテージもあって勝ったと感じてらっしゃるか、それとも実力で負けたと認められるか教えてください。
I think the first bit was a question about the scrum. The scrum seemed pretty messy. Certainly, first half. You'd need to ask the props in our team. They weren't too happy with what was happening, but they were getting a little bit frustrated. But you know, on the question of Japan, they've got really good ability, and you know they've scored 28 points today against us, and you know we've got to take that on the chin, and we never defended well enough, and so you know it was credit to Japan for playing well.
Good time for two more questions.
Gregor, in order to understand the success of Japan, what makes this team so difficult to be beaten? Is it the speed of execution, the technique at any position, or they're willing to play relentless?
It's a very good question. They're a very cohesive group. You can tell that they've been together for a long time, and they know the game that they play. The game suits their strengths, so they play a really fast game, and creating quick ball to the ruck is probably the biggest thing of their game. They execute their set piece really well, and tonight we put pressure on the line-out, so that was a positive for us, because Japan's line-out's been very good, and they have some really good players. They have some excellent ball carriers in the forward, some mixed in with harder workers, and then some players with real pace and confidence just now. You look at any number of players in that back line, and they're full of confidence. They're confident to try things. And they're a good side. When you play a tournament at home, it's going to maybe bring, 10, 20% more, or can help you 10, 20%, just the momentum that creates. The confidence they got from the Ireland game was evident tonight. And they'll be a tough team to beat. I think they now play South Africa, that would be right. And that'll be a tough game for South Africa. They played a few weeks ago, but the scoreline wasn't the same as the performance. Japan had a couple of opportunities in the first half that they would have taken, probably, in the form they're in now. And a couple of tries that South Africa scored in the second half were through interceptions or errors that Japan are not making just now. So that'll be a very close game.
Okay, final question.
Gregor, before the World Cup, Japan was sort of seen as quite a small side. They weren't seen as a heavyweight nation or a knockout World Cup nation. How do you think opposition teams are going to change the way they look at them now in terms of the respect and stature they have on the global stage after going through unbeaten in the pools?
Well, I believe that the opposition coaches that are involved in the World Cup will know and have known for some while that Japan are a quality side. Their run of results going into that game against South Africa were outstanding. Dispatching Fiji, looking very good against USA and Tonga. Big scorelines in those games. The only game they've lost is against South Africa, and that, as I said before, was a much closer game than the scoreline suggested. They beat Ireland, who were ranked 1, 2 or 3 in the world at that time. They've obviously beaten us. So they're a good side, very good side. And they cause you problems in a number of areas, whether it's their attack, and tonight they came back down to the short side on a few occasions, which worked for them. Or how they defend just in that 10 channel. They come up really hard outside of where teams like to play a lot. And they're obviously a very fit team as well.